Channel 8 news program, Inquisitive Corner. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a special guest. Please give a round of applause for Senator Darius Brown, who represents District 2 in Delaware. Hello, Senator Brown. Welcome to our program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic this morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you.
You're welcome. Could you please tell our Thunderbird family a little bit about yourself?
My name is Darius Brown. I have the privilege of serving as a state senator here in the state of Delaware, representing the city of Wilmington, the Route 9 corridor on Newcastle Avenue, and the district goes as far south as Harris Corner. Many are more familiar with the farmers market as a location for that area. And so I am the third African American to serve in the state Senate, continuing the legacy of the first African American man, Herman Holloway Sr., and the first African American woman, Senator Margaret Rose Henry, and I had the privilege of succeeding her and representing the second senatorial district here in the state of Delaware.
Thank you for sharing that information. I want to ask you a few more questions if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
So what does a senator do?
The state senator, I am one of 21 state senators in the state of Delaware. In addition to writing, drafting, and codifying law into the Delaware Code, also work on public policy and really helping everyday citizens with issues that they may have to try to resolve problems. So if there's any summary of the work that I do as a state senator, it would be in helping people and wearing a t-shirt that says I solve problems, or at least that's the attempt that I do each and every day when I wake up.
Well, what made you become a senator?
I wanted to become a senator because I wanted to help people, and I had this sense of giving back to the community in which I grew up in. I grew up on the east side of Wilmington, and so there was many individuals in the educational space like you have here at Warner with all of your teachers that are here at Warner and your principal, Dr. Newton. I had that same experience as a kid growing up on the east side with Maurice Pritchett at Bancroft School, and so many of the community leaders in that area investing in me, nurturing me, giving me a sense of community. And so as an adult, I wanted to give back to improve the community in which I grew up in, the city that I love, and the state that I serve.
That's so interesting. I didn't know how much work it took to be a senator.
Yeah.
How long have you been a senator?
I was elected to the Delaware State Senate in 2018. Before that, I served on Wilmington City Council when I began in 2012 as a member of Wilmington City Council representing the 3rd Council District. I've spent most of my adult life working in government, so I began my career professionally working in the United States Senate for a guy named Joe Biden when he was our U.S. Senator. And so from that, I continued my maturation to the point that I am now serving as an elected official in the state as a state senator.
Well, why did you just stay senator for so long?
Serving in the Delaware State Senate, I am the only African-American male that is elected to serve in the Delaware State Senate. I'm the second in the history of the state as an African-American male. And for young men like yourself and others, I want to be a role model and an example of what you can do and you can achieve and accomplish in your life. And so that's part of why I do this work, but it's also about improving the lives and neighborhoods of black and brown people, people that are underserved, underrepresented, and underprivileged, and allowing them to recognize the opportunity and possibility they have that are limitless educationally, professionally, in any area of their life that they want to pursue. So for me, it's about making sure that your dreams are dreams that you can obtain and that they come true, and making sure you have all the supports and all the resources to bring those things to fruition.
Thank you for working for the people who live in Delaware for so many years. What are some obstacles you have to deal with while being the senator?
As a state senator, I represent over 40,000 Delawareans. So that's 40,000+ opinions, ideas, and ways to do things. And so bringing people together to agree, to coalesce, to compromise, to get things done on behalf of you and families like yours and children throughout the city. And we've done that through legislation by the historic investments we've made in infrastructure in the state of Delaware, by criminal justice reform with the Adult Expungement Act and Clean Slate, which now allows individuals that have a barrier to employment, housing, or education to be removed. And that helps over 290,000 Delawareans up and down the state, literally from Claymont to Rehoboth Beach to Delmar, all lifestyles of people. Over 290,000 people are now helped because of legislation like that. But then I get to come back to neighborhoods that you and I grew up in here in the city of Wilmington and along the Route 9 corridor and make investments. So we invested last year over $100 million into the 2nd Senatorial District and to African American institutions in the state. And I look forward to doing more of that work to build better neighborhoods and to reduce poverty and expand opportunity.
Was it like really difficult to like be a senator?
I think the strength of being a senator is family support, neighborhood support, constituency support, and then being encouraged to spend a Friday morning with you and recognize that the work that I do is not in vain and that there's a bright future of young leaders like yourself that I once was as a kid when I was in like youth in government and student government and all those things like eons ago, that one day you'll become a senator or a doctor or a business owner or whatever your desires are, and that you can do more than one thing. And so with me being a state senator, that is one thing that I do. I also run a nonprofit in the city of Wilmington that helps people that are coming out of prison gain employment and housing and reenter successfully. And then I also do other work in the community within the faith-based community and other entities. So you can do more than one thing in your lifespan and you can accomplish them all and achieve them all. So what are some of your favorite things to do?
Well, I'm more like a sport person, but I actually love dancing.
You love dancing?
Yeah.
So when I was your age, I was in 3rd grade. I was at McVeigh Elementary School, and we had a play for Peter Pan, and I got to play Peter Pan, and I fell in love with the arts. And as life went on, I got involved in government and politics and things of that sort, and never got to really advance in that dream of mine in acting and arts. And so when you say that to me, that brings me alive. And hopefully there, at some point in my life I can revisit that in some context, but I hope that you continue with that interest, and I know that you'll excel in that interest. And then in sports and athletics, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, or all three, I'm certain that you'll be well accomplished in that as well.
Well, when you were a kid, was your mindset just set to being a senator, or did you have other things in?
My mindset was so far from being a senator. When I was a kid, it was about playing Madden and NBA Live and playing on my local football team and basketball team and all of the things that kids think about as kids. It was very far from being elected. But as a kid that grew up in a neighborhood in a loving community, it gave me a sense of giving back. So we used to do community clothing drives and food drives and giveaways on the weekend. My grandmother was a pastor of a church, and so we were in church, and so the faith context gave us a sense of giving back, and we were doing those things through the church, giving back to the community. And so for me, serving in public office, it's nothing more than what I was trained to do as a kid and giving back to the community that I live in and I grew up in. And that's what I continue to do as an adult, as a state senator. But I never wrote down when I grew up, I want to be a state senator. But this is just an extension of my public service and giving back to the community.
That sounds really challenging that you have to do that. And finally, what is the progress of becoming a senator?
The progress, it's funny that you say that. Our motto or mantra is our progress. And so in recent years, we've done things like establish Juneteenth as a state holiday in the state of Delaware. We've added to the Delaware State Constitution the protection of rights for African Americans, Hispanics, Asian Americans, Latinx residents in our state so that they would have protections no matter their race or national origin or color. We also did protections around hair. So you know how lots of people like to grow their hair now and have kinky twist and all kinds of things like that. Not as smooth as you and our hair today, but we wanted to make sure that they had protections in school and in employment, so that they could have braids and knots and all those things that they wanted to have in expressing themselves, and not have those prejudices whether they're in school or employment. So those are some of the things that we did around progress, in addition to the things I talked about earlier, like the $100 million of investment and adult expungement. But there's so much more that we can do to improve education for our kids, and I'm thankful for the work of Governor Carney and many members of the Delaware Legislative Black Caucus as we work together to improve urban education here in the city of Wilmington, and making sure that you have everything you need so that you can be successful. And I just want to thank Warner School, the leadership of Warner School, the teachers and educators here, for how they continue to invest in you and to create a space like this that you can cultivate your interest in the arts.
So what you're saying that when I grow up, I could become a senator?
When you grow up, you can become a senator. When you grow up, you can be the president of the United States. When you grow up, you can be the wealthiest man in the world. It is all about the aspirations and dreams that you have and the discipline to follow through to obtain them. I believe that the richest place in the entire world is the grave, because that's the place many people have gone without obtaining their dreams. And so my words of encouragement to you is to live out your dreams, live out every aspiration and idea that you have. Don't be afraid to fail, because if you don't try, you'll never be able to obtain it. And just meeting you this morning and seeing the potential that you have, I'm very confident that you'll be able to obtain all of those things. So keep leading, man.
That's really amazing that I could actually become a senator when I grow up. Thank you, Senator Brown, for joining us, and thank you, Thunderbird family, for watching. I am Skylar Elijah from WTK and Channel 8 News Program. Have a great day.